Throughout and after Watergate, people were wondering how the information that led to President Nixon's resignation got out. Well, that's the thing. Most people have never heard of the name Martha Mitchell. Okay, let's back up 3 years before Watergate, 1969. Richard Nixon, this guy, or as people call him, King Richard, had nominated John Mitchell, Martha Mitchell's husband, to Attorney General, which he successfully got the job. He was sworn in one day after Nixon's inauguration. John Mitchell ran the Justice Department for 3 years before resigning in 1972 to be the chairman of the CRP, which is an abbreviation for the Committee to Re-elect the President, or otherwise CREEP. And then one day in the summer of 1972, a member of the White House Plumbers Unit, not exactly what you think it means, G. Gordon Liddy, told John Mitchell, the only way for Nixon to win re-election, we need to break into the Watergate to get information on Democratic nominees. And Mitchell's like, good idea. The night of the Watergate break-in, June 17th, 1972, 5 men broke into the hotel and then wiretapped and stole multiple information on Democratic nominees, mostly to get dirt on them. Until they got arrested, after maybe a person blabbed, I don't know.
Security, Frank Wells.
Yeah, sir. You might want to send a maintenance man over to that office across the way. The lights are off and they must be looking for a fuse box or something because them flashlights, they're keeping me awake.
Okay, sir, I'll check it out.
Thank you.
No problem.
Good night.
No, that actually didn't happen. It was just a scene from Forrest Gump. But it was actually the night guard, Frank Willis, who actually found them. On his own. By himself. The next thing, a co-conspirator called John Mitchell, told him Operation Watergate was compromised. Later to know that Martha, who John thought was in bed, was actually listening behind him. The whole thing about Watergate. Then Martha started asking some questions. But John just told her, if you keep your mouth shut, you'll be all right. And that had Martha very mad. 5 days after Watergate, she called one of her favorite reporters, Helen Thomas, to tell her of her intention to leave her husband unless he resigned from the CRP. That was when one of her bodyguards snuck up behind her and then just jumped and kidnapped her. And after that, Martha was drugged and tied up. Well, one of her bodyguards who did all that told Helen Thomas that Miss Mitchell is indisposed and cannot talk. She was later released by the bodyguard that day, but the incident left her fearing for her life because she felt as a liability to the Nixon administration. But Martha Mitchell didn't care anyways. She went forward with their claims, and they sparked multiple paparazzis showing up. Here's how one paparazzi thing went.
What can I tell you what? I can tell you it leaks.
Mouth of the South, she was called. But things, though, were not looking good. After she went forward with her claims, and after a jury investigating Watergate, investigated the whole thing for about a year, they indicted her husband for involvement in the scandal. And after that, Martha filed for a separation against her husband. And things weren't looking good in the White House for President Nixon. Multiple investigations, impeachment inquiries, multiple explosive allegations. This made him to make this infamous speech and an infamous quote. Here's how it happened.
Because people have got to know whether or not their president's a crook. Well, I'm not a crook. I've earned everything I've got.
But in the end, Nixon knew the right decision.
Therefore, I shall resign the presidency effective at noon tomorrow. Vice President Ford will be sworn in as president at that hour in this office.
But after Nixon's resignation, Martha's health started to decline after she was diagnosed with melanoma after Nixon resigned. Martha Mitchell died on May 31st, 1976. She was 57 years old. A year after her death, in an interview, former President Nixon said in an interview, "If it hadn't been for Martha, there had never been a Watergate."